Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time now to check in with Bulldog Football, and joining us on the show is Coach Sam Parker. Coach, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to come back to this studio where I got my degree, and it brings back a lot of good memories.
Well, great to have you on the show, and it's great to be talking some football. So let's talk spring football. How's it been going so far out there on the field?
It has been one of the best springs that we've ever had. Like, part of it, last season not achieving the success that we wanted to, like when that happens with any successful company even, like, all right, we're back to the drawing board. Hey, we're going to come back with something even more creative, even more exciting, and, in a little bit of getting back to our roots, which we lost last fall. And so it's been really refreshing to see, the development of the guys, and also as a staff, us kind of going back to formula.
What does that say about the state of Ferris State football that, you haven't just said that you didn't meet the expectation, which is, of course, to win a national championship. So what does that tell you about the state of the program right now?
After we won the first one in 2021, I was at, I think, the bank, and I was talking to a bank manager, and she was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for next year to go back down to Texas. And she's like, my husband and I just booked the hotel rooms. And I'm like, well, that's a year from now. We had to do a lot of work for the first one, and then, she was actually correct, and she got her hotel rooms booked for the national championship that we were in. So if she could do that again, that would be helpful for us. But that's not only the expectation in the program, but the community. And anybody that walks around is representing Ferris football. I went for a run on the trail up at the park and passed 4 people, all of them wearing Ferris State football. And I wasn't wearing my colors or anything. And I was like, man, that's wild that we're, it's this popular, but, that level of success and achievement is exactly what brings everybody together.
What's it like being around student athletes who desire to have that much success?
It's infectious. It's contagious. It makes you better. I am not a morning person. I've only survived the mornings, and waking up at 4 a.m. to go to workouts and this sort of stuff. I mean, our guys, my unit, the offensive line, Lawrence Hattar is in the weight room before I am. And you just see their level of hustle and their work, and it's unmatched, man. And it really makes you want to go the extra mile and the extra distance.
What do you think has been something that maybe your group specifically has been trying to work on in spring, but then also the team as a whole?
Oh, it's no mystery. Like, we really struggled in pass protection last year. And it was a hole in our system and our development, and with our guys, the big dudes up front. Every offensive lineman wants to run the football. That's why you play offensive line. So you hear pass, and you're like, there's only one stat that an O-lineman could take on pass pro, and it's giving up a sack. So, for us last year, we had a really young group up front. We had 2 guys that had never, I played 9 guys up front out of 5 positions. 3 of them had registered actual snaps in a game playing offensive line. The rest were either freshmen or, brand new to the position. And so with that, you're going to have growing pains. And we had a lot of them. And so it's been refreshing this spring to see them take that dedication and tackle something that's very difficult to do. And they're doing it at one of the highest levels I've seen in the spring. I'm being honest with you. I'm really impressed with how these guys are developed.
When you talk about the buy-in from players to make those steps and to develop like that, and that's not just something for your unit, that's for the entire Bulldog football team. How does that affect the championship culture?
Man, like the level of buy-in, so what you guys don't see, and I didn't even see as a player, is the level of work that goes into coaching. And for us, we have Owen Schussler, Garrett Pistro, Brendan Swajak, Dan Sales, Kyler Granger, Javon Shaw. Like, we have so many guys that are there that are not even getting paid, and they're putting in the workload of a full-time staff member. That's part of the reason we're successful. Is when you talk about that buy-in, it's from those guys, that are putting in the work, So I'm looking at my guys that are waking up and they're in the weight room before I am at 5:15 in the morning, and I'm talking 3-4 days a week. And then I look over and there's all those younger guys too. And so I walk in there and I'm like, all right, I need to step my stuff up and I need to take it to another level. And I know our coaching staff feels that same way, and you just feed off of it. And then I know my guys are looking at me and they're like, this dude's a maniac over here. And you know what I mean? So iron sharpens iron, and everybody is rising up with it.
You talk about a lot of those young guys, and of course the spring game is just around the corner, which seems really strange to be saying that already, but you're going to get a chance to see a lot of those young guys and what they can do.
And I'm pretty excited. We've got some new guys playing running back that are really dynamic and exciting every time they get the ball in practice, and I keep looking at Coach Rock, Brian Rock, and I'm like, man, these guys can go. And on top of it, and I'm not even joking, but I've never been more excited for having two quarterbacks. Usually you just want one and this is the guy, but Trinidad Chambliss and Carson Gulker are as good as it comes. I've never seen anybody with more dynamic playmaking ability than Trinidad Chambliss, and Carson Gulker has like 50 rushing touchdowns in his career, so he's like on pace to break a ton of records, and both have their strengths. And I mean, man, like it's just going to be a pleasure to stand on the sidelines and watch those guys take off.
Last year, a lot of the offensive players were talking about the speed of your team, specifically at the skill position players, as a big strength of the roster. Do you think that that's going to be something that you try to focus on a lot next year as well?
Absolutely. Our offense, by design, and the brand and the name of our offense is speed in space. So we want to have our playmakers get the ball with as much space as possible to run and go do their thing. And, Deion Small is returning after his injury from last year, and Brady Rose is about as reliable and consistent of a skill guy that I've seen. And, Tyrese Hunt Thompson, good luck guarding him. I mean, he is one of the best deep threats we've seen. So, the offensive line's looking big and nasty, and we've got tons of quarterbacks that can roll in there, and we've got deep threats, Cam Underwood and Tyrese, and some skill guys on the inside receiver that can go. And so when you have that, there's not a big weakness or a hole. I guess the weakness is going to be the coaching staff to make sure all these guys get the ball, and that'll probably be the big thing that we struggle with.
That's a good problem to have, though, right?
I'll take it every time.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thanks so much for being on the show. Good luck with the rest of your spring schedule, and we look to seeing you guys in the fall.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We'll be back right after this with more Ferris Sports Update.